And then I said, get off me, I'm done. Space! The final frontier! These are the voyages of the starship Adequate. Our ongoing mission, until we are cancelled and replaced by something far superior, to review every episode and movie of Star Trek in existence, to seek out new guests and make them very uncomfortable, much like I am in this uniform and this godforsaken humidity, to boldly go where many other YouTube Star Trek-based YouTube show things have gone before. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Treks and Trekkers worldwide, and welcome to another live episode of Trekking Up North. I am one of your hosts, Captain Goodwill, here, moist and slightly smelling of oil, and joining me as ever is the delectable. Look at how cool, look at how refreshed he looks.
Like it's called having a blue light. it's literally.
He looks like he's
all lighting.
He looks like he's been dipped in the virgin. Oh, he looks like he's been dipped in the goat's milk of Cleopatra's bath itself. It's science officer that was. Look at him.
I love that. Cleopatra.
Cleopatra. Welcome to the USS Adequate.
Cleopatra, yeah.
Cleopatra.
Yeah.
Do you like carry on, Cleo?
I like how your hair looks like, you know, when they have to rough people up or make it look like the ship's been sort of like rocking about or they're in war and all they do is just put one hair out of place on Janeway and they're like, okay, yeah, they're in a battle, you know. There we go. That's too far though. That is too far.
This is
just when it's
this
one
is my
little
week.
lock that's out of place.
This is my week summed up in one hair. So actually, I look like one of those youths bussing.
Is that double O?
Bussing no cap.
Yes, and
yes.
Whatever that cult speak sounds like. But yeah, so your week's been great. You look fully relaxed. You look like I'm surprised the Delta isn't upside down. I'm surprised the combat isn't sort of hanging off.
It's been another exciting week for Captain Goodwill, one of desperation and amongst other things. But we are here as ever to review another fantastic episode of Star Trek. This time around, the season 3 episode from The Next Generation, Yesterday's Enterprise. And me and Science Officer Synoiz were having a discussion about our load screen image because we would love to know where the apostrophe is supposed to be. So what I'm going to do, just for a couple seconds, I'm going to put up the load screen and then,
What is wrong? Do we not have punctuation in the future is what I said.
Are you ready, everybody? Be prepared for a little bit of silence. What is that apostrophe? Where does that apostrophe belong in life?
I like the idea that the person who made the font is like, well, no one's going to need apostrophe, no one's going to need punctuation. We'll just roll with it.
I'm pretty sure when I booted up Photoshop and I put an apostrophe, they were like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yes."
You're from Red Card. You know how to use this?
It's grammatically.
Shouldn't you be throwing bones at a monolith or something?
It's grammatically correct, and they were like, "He knows grammar."
They can learn.
What next? Paying bills. But they, what, it. We are here to review yesterday's Enterprise from The Next Generation, which featured in the Dabo Wheel of Honour. I will be fluttering my brush around because I need something to grasp firmly within my hand while we talk about this episode. Because for me,
you like it that much? Bloody hell!
Two ships. For me, though, this was one of those episodes that. I say this a lot about The Next Generation, but I genuinely do believe this was a turning point in The Next Generation. Now, I know I said this about Best of Both Worlds recently, but what I mean about turning point is, up until this point, so season 1 and 2, it was it was finding its feet. And one of the famous things that people always say about The Next Generation is it doesn't really hit its stride until season 3, which is true. But this was one of these episodes that really turned it on its head and went, hey, let's have a look at the Next Generation crew in an alternate universe where everything's a bit darker, everything's a bit dreary, everything's a bit bleak. And I really friggin' love this episode for the risks it takes in like showing an alternate next gen era where everything is dark, everything is very solemn. There's an air of desperation. The Federation are at war, and the one thing I really love about this episode is how they do it through the form of lighting. All the way through, because I was considering for this episode of Trekking adjusting my lighting to properly reflect,
or turning it off.
Yeah, to properly reflect like the type of lighting that was used in this episode, because there were certain little things that if you didn't pay attention that you wouldn't notice, like when Picard steps up to the captain's chair, the downlight illuminates him. Like when he's not there, there's no lighting, and it properly reflects like this is a combat ship on like power is a commodity, and they wouldn't just have all the lights on all the time and replicators and holodecks and everything like that. This is a ship of battle where every bit of power is diverted to the defense systems. And obviously, if you are not in a room, you are not going to have light. And when you are in a room, as we see with the Ready Room, there's like barely any lighting going on, but it just gives it such a claustrophobic feeling when you are watching it. And I got stuff like the Hunt for Red October and other naval battle things, you know, battle movies that we saw in the 80s and 90s, like I'm going to say Under Siege, and I know it's Steven Seagal, but blow me. But stuff like that.
He'll probably do that for $1 these days.
Oh, he would, the slut. But it just gives you that claustrophobic effect. And the way that they redesigned the bridge as well, where there's a lot more people, it's a lot more busier, and the use of lighting to make it look claustrophobic when we know that the bridge is actually huge.
It's that kind of nuance that I think you didn't get in other shows, where they kind of go, look, everything would be affected by this. You know, like a lot of other shows would be like, oh, it's an alternate future and everyone just looks the same, or like they've just tweaked one kind of thing. Whereas this, it kind of goes, like you say, they've thought about, hey, what would a ship be like if it was during war times? Would they be conserving power? Would it be like this? And it's got this innate claustrophobia about it all. Like, you know, I noticed, and this is the first time I've noticed this, because obviously this is the first time I've watched this episode like more than casually, like with a notepad taking stuff down. But when they go at the Ready Room is totally different. Like, rather than being spaced out and around a table where they're all kind of like, you know, they're all kind of looking at each other and stuff like this, they're all kind of in one group looking at the captain in this. It's kind of like a press room in a weird way. And there's something interesting about that. They're all sat really close together. It's constantly, cameras kind of zoomed in a fair bit and whatnot. And it gives you that sense of danger, that sense of sort of, we're at war, you know, anything could happen. And
it's a great trick as well, because you can make so many changes to how a set looks by doing nothing at all and just turning off lighting and positioning the camera and the cast in such a way. And I mean, when we see the Enterprise D bridge, they've got like operation stations where those panelings are and not on the side, and they've got more consoles. But what the one thing I really do notice about this episode, and the Galaxy class is a huge vessel, but what not a lot of people know is that a vast amount of space on the Enterprise D is vacant. It's void. There's a crew of, I think it's like over 1,000 people on board the Enterprise D, or 3,000 people or something like that. But a large majority of the vessel is empty because it's used for space, for labs, for any eventuality, for evacuations. When you look at this ship and when you see the sets like 10 Forward and the corridors, it's a hive of activity. It's constantly busy. There's constantly people moving around. And it really gives you a sense of, this is obviously it's the same ship, but it's a ship that's used to move massive amounts of troops, to move massive amounts of weaponry, of cargo during wartime. And even Tasha Yar, when she's talking to Castile, where she's like, this ship is capable of simultaneously beaming 6,000 troops. Yeah. And you're thinking, yeah. So, like, you look at the Enterprise
that's
D.
That's a concern, because, like, the Enterprise... Usually the Enterprise is, like 4 people at once. There we go. That's what we kind of need. But the idea that it's suggested in this future, they've had to develop,
mass transporters. Yeah. Because it was there's always been a thing... crew size. So there's always been a thing with the Enterprise D where they're like, it must be huge, it's a city in space, they've got everything. But then you look at this ship and it only has 1,000 people, just over 1,000 people as the crew. And people always say, well, if there's 1,000 people, how come we only see so many people in the corridor? And it's like, it's such a large ship, it would be very hard to encounter more than a handful of people when you're traveling from one place to another, because there's so much vacant space.
Well, and everyone has their own jurisdiction, where it's the idea of going, hey, the people in the science labs, why would they ever come out of there? Like, we only see the same people because we're focused on the same areas, where it's engineering, it's the bridge, it's the show is careful enough to go, hey, here's the people that you might see in engineering, here's the people that you might see on the bridge, rather than just going, hey, just chuck everyone everywhere,
But the sheer scale of this, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, right? And I'll give you some facts. So obviously standard crew is 1,000 people, right? Emergency evacuation limit for this ship is 15,000 people. The absolute maximum capacity of this ship is 100,000 people. That is a huge... That's the sheer scale.
Does it say people or the Irish?
Well,
because that was one episode where they literally just went, let's just fill the cargo bays full of the Irish.
Funny you should say that, because it does say 100,000 Irish people and 2 goats. But
that's it.
But I mean,
1,000 normal people.
But the way
I'm coming for you, Irish. I'm coming for you.
But the way they utilize, like, the way they utilize this episode to show this Enterprise in a different light and to show it densely packed is absolutely fantastic. But it's those tiny little changes that make you realize it is an alternate universe. Because when the Enterprise C comes out of the worm, I will get to the story in a minute, but when the Enterprise C comes out of the wormhole and they just do that shift where the light immediately changes, white to blue, everything's dark, the uniforms, I think, is an absolutely spectacular touch, because the uniforms are changed so subtly that you would not notice unless you were properly paying attention. Like there's a different collar, there's a different cuff. Like obviously they've got the shiny weapons belts and baldric and stuff like that. But there's tiny little...
To be fair, I was going to suggest renaming this episode to be A Future So Dark That Everyone Needs Belts. Because that is the main change you notice, where it's the future has got so bleak that everyone's trousers are falling down.
So what you're saying, we should rename this The Keir Starmer Future.
No, because even in this, it's not that bleak.
But I mean, this is like I said, this is one of my favourite episodes of the Next Generation. So I'll run through the synopsis and then we'll get into the meat and to veg of this fantastic episode. Whilst investigating a temporal rift, the Enterprise encounters a ghost from its own past, the USS Enterprise C, or K, which travels 22 years into the future and changes the course of history. With the flow of history changed, Tasha Yar still lives, and the Federation is losing a decades-long war with the Klingon Empire.
Now, this is such an interesting concept for the episode. Like, I do have questions, because obviously if I can't just kind of be a dickhead about the sort of details of other episodes, and then with this one, just because I really like it, be like, oh, we can wave over that, because I think the time travel thing is really badly explained. Like, usually they go into what happened, and in this one, they're like, maybe an explosion caused it. It's like...
Voyager science, yeah.
Well, it's like photon torpedoes must have exploded in such a way to create a temporal rift, and you magically went through it. And you're like, this sounds like bollocks. This sounds like the plot needed to happen.
Can you imagine the battles in DS9? Everyone's just going into 1922 just randomly. It does sound there's a bit of bullshit.
I would have preferred a little bit more of an explanation or something, or like maybe there's a Geordie subplot in this where he's working out how the hell it happens in order to recreate the rift. I think it would have been better had it been that the rift wasn't automatically there and they had to make an effort to reopen the rift and they had to work out what had happened. That would have felt better, but I guess...
Can I just say, when you said like there was a Geordie aspect, I genuinely thought you were going to go, hey, there's a fucking wormhole here, like.
Given now what to do with this wormhole.
Look at this wormhole here, like. I think we better fucking beat cheeks here, like.
I've chucked a spanner at the wall and it hasn't opened any bloody wormhole.
Oh, Rachel, there's a wormhole and there's spoons.
Yeah, go on, take fucking Tasha with you as well.
Go on, why have you gone Yorkshire?
I don't know. I can't
you went into Yorkshire. Take Tasha,
love.
Take Tasha, yeah.
Take Tasha off the Enterprise C.
It's the Enterprise.
I say Ashley.
Ashley. Sorry, Uncle Fred. No one's going to get this outside of the UK. Oh, if they're under 30.
American viewers, is this making any sense to you at all?
Comment below what that reference is, and you will get a free Trekkin Up North sticker. I know you won't get it.
I like that, what is it, Sarah Peach in the chat has been talking about how hot and horrible it's been today and how tired they are and how they tried to make a cake and they had, like, all these problems. And I'm just going, I think we've just gone mental. I think that, like, me and you have just gone heat crazy, I think.
It was
Geordie. It's the same thing.
It was so hot today. I couldn't understand this poor Glaswegian person trying to make a booking.
We need the universal translator. We need Hoshi on it.
I had to go at the end of it. I had to admit defeat and go, I'm sorry, I don't understand a word you're saying. And then suddenly lucidity came in and all I heard was, I didn't worry about it, pet, and then put the phone down. And I was like, what is this week? What is this humidity? It is Floridian. All I need is people chasing crocodiles.
Is that why you drink fluoride? Because that would explain a lot of it.
Oh God, I wish I could drink fluoride right now. But no, I mean, this is just such a good episode, and we get to see the captain of the Enterprise C, Rachel Garrett, first female captain of an Enterprise. I mean,
I really hope nothing happens to tarnish her legacy in Star Trek.
I really hope they don't recast someone who's blue-eyed.
Why did you do that?
It's a Keir Starmer movie.
Actually, I don't know because some people paid attention to it.
Hello, my name is Rachel Garrett.
Oh, I don't know how to go in one direction for too long. The closest he got to being in one direction was being that close to Mandelson.
Oh God, he's got more U-turns than the roundabout. But I love the time travel hokey pokey aside. I really do like this episode, and I love the fact that it explains a gap in Trek history, but it's
which we really should have got. We really should have got this. Like the Romulan War is such an important thing.
This is not the Romulan War. This is the thing.
What?
This is. So basically, history has been altered because the Enterprise C, instead of being destroyed at Narendra 3, saving it, like defending a Klingon outpost from the Romulans, travels through time. The Klingons feel like that ship abandoned them, saw it as a dishonor, and declared war on the Federation for the Federation allowing, like, running away from a battle and allowing the Romulans to destroy Narendra 3. So a war ensues, 22-year-long war. It's not going well for the Federation. And what we see here is the ultimate choice has to be made. You escape this battle. There's only 100 of your crew left. However, to possibly save history, correct the timeline, and prevent 40 billion deaths, you must go back in time to the moment you were about to be destroyed and sacrifice yourself for the betterment of the galaxy, the quadrant, and to restore the timeline. And it is, I feel that there could have been a more better way to properly emphasize the weight of the decision. Because we barely see any of the crew the Enterprise see. We see Castile, we see Garrett, we see a few extras here and there, but all we get is Garrett going, well, given the thing, my crew is itching to go back, and they don't like leaving a fight. And I'm like, hang on a minute. The trauma of traveling, first of all, the trauma of a battle, the trauma of traveling 22 years into the future, and then the absolute gut-wrenching decision to travel back to die, in a very slim chance that you could alter history for the better. But here is my other question, and I want to postulate to this. So, assume the position, bite down on the brush, and be prepared to be postulated. Okay, so
you can tell it's a Friday.
So the Enterprise C gets destroyed at Narendra 3. Sacrifices itself to defend a Klingon outpost from the Romulans, right? No survivors, right?
Well, apparently not, but apparently I guess
take away what happens later on, right? No survivors.
Yeah.
Why not send the ship on autopilot back into the rift and 22 years into the past?
But this is the thing, though, because you've got to think. I thought this because I was just like, actually, to be fair, if the whole point is that they get blown up and they get seen being blown up, then that's all that needs to be done. It doesn't need to actually do them. But then at the same time, they would all cease to exist in that future because that future wouldn't exist. So effectively, they both die. They die either way, basically.
I saw, but I feel that could have been explained. I feel.
Well, it's the fact of it's one of those things because I think Star Trek changes the way it does time travel, because a lot of things are sometimes it's the time travel where you can go into the past and change things and it will affect the future. And then sometimes it's the one where, hey, time travel just creates a different reality. So you're actually just moving sideways to a different probability. And this one, you're kind of going, which one is it? Is it that feature doesn't exist anymore? Or is it just that us as the viewer are shifting to look back at a different timeline?
I do feel that at this point in the 90s, because this is February 1990, I do feel like at this point, multiverses wasn't really a known thing in television.
Well, no, but the scientific theory was there. That was definitely postulated, to use that word, posited before here. So I wonder, but I don't know if TNG does it, but I know Voyager's very sort of, here's how time travel works now.
But what I do love, this episode is a catalyst because we do see the return of Tasha Yar to Star Trek after 2 years.
And how good is it to see it?
Oh, she's
it's always so wonderful
good
to see.
So this episode, so for those that don't know, this episode is the combination of 2 screenplays submitted by the I can't remember what it's called. Let me get the name. It was it was the Open Script Policy. I can't remember what it was called.
Is that where fans get to submit stuff?
Yeah, so it was essentially a spec script, right? Submitted by fans, right? This is 2 episodes combined. One where it featured an Enterprise of the past. It wasn't descriptive on which Enterprise, but an Enterprise of the past comes into the future, and Picard has to make a decision on whether to allow them to remain in the present day or travel back into the past. All right. There was a lot less weight. Basically, the present remained the same. There was no alterations, but another Enterprise appeared. And then the other one was Tasha Yar returned, essentially to have a hero's death. So Tasha Yar returns, but ends up dying. But like Guinan says in the episode, her death is not an empty one. Her death was without not without purpose. So when Pillar looked at these two, they combined them together, and this is why it was co-wrote by Ron Deemer and Ira Stephen Bear and everyone else. So it was a culmination of both episodes. And what I didn't know was this was going to be one of the more gorier episodes of The Next Generation at this point.
It is, though.
No, it was going to be worse.
Really?
So at the end,
I was still thinking it's got a lot of blood in it for TNG.
Fun fact: when spoiler alert, when Rachel Garrett dies, she's got a bit of a model airplane wing hanging out of her head, right? But in the original script,
Be careful with your hobbies, kids.
So what they had to do, because everything is shot out of order, this episode was moved up in the production schedule to accommodate Denise Crosby and Whoopi Goldberg to be on the same set together and do some scenes together. So they moved it up to December 89. They had to speed it up because of the Christmas hiatus. But there were going to be scenes during the battle between the Klingons and the Enterprise D where Riker dies, as we see, Data gets electrocuted, and Wesley Crusher gets decapitated.
Now, please tell me that was in the fan script. I have a feeling that was directly from the fan script.
Yeah.
Where the fans were just like, Crusher has to die.
Yeah. He was going to be decapitated in the original run for this episode. But because of
how horrible everyone is.
Right?
How horrible the fans. Like, you know how we talk about, like, the fans nowadays being toxic and being sort of like, oh, they didn't like Starfleet Academy and, oh, they think everything's woke and all that luck. And stuff. I love that it's always been that. Like, we have these rose-tinted goggles of, like, what the 90s were for Trek and stuff. But you look back and you're like, yeah, we were all still shitheads. we were all still kind of complaining about every episode and how it broke canon and how, this guy's bald. He can't replace Kirk. It is just like...
I was shocked when I heard that. I really was shocked when I heard that. But... I mean, the episode it's just so good, but I do feel there should have been more weight to that decision to travel back in time.
I don't know. See, I don't know, because the thing is, what we've got to think is that the Enterprise crew is very well trained. Like we see in DS9, where it goes into it more about where it's got Miles. Oh God, we're going to mention her. Where it's got Miles talking about how he's had to write before every mission, he records a message to Keiko just in case this is the last mission he goes on.
And then she leaves him on red.
People do that. Yes, he's just like, I'll check it later.
K.
No, she's a thumbs up girl. Keiko is literally a thumbs up reaction.
She's definitely a thumbs up girl.
This might be my last mission. I love you dearly. Sort of say goodbye to Molly for me.
Yeah, eat shit.
But like they're fully prepared for that.
Yeah.
And I think with the Enterprise C, it doesn't feel too bad to me, because I think they would be trained for that. They would be like, hey, we're fully prepared to die. We were prepared to die as soon as that battle we were in the middle of started. I think that's the thing. So what they've got is they've got a reprieve from it, but they're kind of... I don't think it's too much of a hop, skip, and a jump to them going, let's get back into it then, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just a shame.
It's believable. It's not the least believable thing.
I know there was a lot of extras for the Enterprise D. I just... just a little bit more weight for the Enterprise C crew. Just a little bit, because we do get Castiel, and I like Castiel. I think he's very good, and he does ironically feature in Star Trek Online. They do an extra thing. Yeah, it's oh god, the poor crew, the Enterprise C. They really get a rough go of it. So in the story on Star Trek Online, so they go. It's oh god, they had a day. So they are answering the distress call from the Klingons at Narendra 3. They come under attack from the Romulans. They fly through this temporal wormhole, whatever, see the Enterprise D. They then get patched up. Garrett dies. They go back through the temporal rift. However, there has been a miscalculation. They then end up in another alternate universe where the Tholians have taken over the Federation. Their ship is
Wow.
impounded, they are enslaved, and then they have to again bust out of that to then go back to the battle at Narendra 3 after being held as the S word for God knows how long, being forced to mine dilithium to go back to Narendra 3 to unalive themselves. And you're thinking, at this point, right, you would welcome it. You would just welcome it. Because
mix it up a bit, you know.
like, oh, where are we gonna go into the wormhole this time? And
It's like Quantum Leap with a whole ship.
it's like a morbid quantum leap where just every leap is progressively more depressing and progressively more painful. And it's just like, can you imagine the Star Trek spin-off of that where it's just like,
I'm writing that down.
What?
I'm writing that down. A morbid quantum leap. That's your review of this episode.
A morbid quantum leap. It's not as good as Conflict in the Wormhole, but a morbid quantum.
That's my porno.
A morbid quantum, but it is a morbid quantum leap when you think about it. All we needed was Bakula.
It is interesting. Well, to be fair, get him back in track. That's what
Get him Bakula.
God, but
I'm starting that campaign.
I do really like though. I like the characters that didn't introduce it. So obviously you mentioned Castile there, and it's one thing I really like that it does so much so quickly. It's like a 44-minute episode.
That's really
and yet
short.
It manages to introduce characters like Rachel Garrett and like Castile and like, you know, bring back Yar, and then manage to sort of get a love, like a sort of a relationship going between Castile and Yar.
Yeah.
And I was like going, when I was starting the episode, I was like, oh yeah, this is the one where they fall in love after like 5 minutes and it's really silly. And then I was like watching it and just being like, actually, it's kind of nicely believable. Like it is a bit sort of love at first sight kind of thing. But the way they interact with each other is the idea of going, yeah, we've had this. Like, I don't know if you've had it, but I've been with people where you just like within a couple of like minutes or hours, you can be like, actually, yeah, we get on pretty well, you know. And the actors do it so well. There's this wonderful chemistry between them.
It's kind of like two people lost in time, finding each other, separated by decades, but finding each other. And yeah, I mean, it's a short time, but again, what you have to realize is like this is a time of war. There is no there are no absolutes. There are no guarantees on anything. And if you do find yourself in that situation, would you take full advantage of it?
I just like the idea that they're compatible. Like, because one of the things that I love about Tasha Yar, Tasha Yar, and obviously people might get offended by this, but it's the fact of, I respect it, is the fact that she is a very forward woman. She is a woman who knows what she likes, you know, and she's a sexually active, you know, she's a person who is like, you know, very dominant. And I love that about her.
Knows.
But that's exactly it. It's like the idea that she's got, even though she's under the influence of stuff there, it's the fact of that is who she is. She's kind of like, hey, I went through hell growing up kind of thing, so I'm going to take what I want and I'm going to like, you know, do this and do that. She's very forthright. And it's really good. And then he is as well. Like, he's the one flirting with her. He's the one saying, hey, why don't we talk about other stuff? And you can see how well she reacts to it. And you get that in real life, where you get people who their love language is kind of silent and it's a bit sort of more cautious. You get people who are just like, oh, you're hitting on me. Cool. I'll respond to that, you know.
Yeah.
And it's, and I don't know. I just think it's a wonderful bit of writing, their relationship, when I came into it thinking that I'd be complaining about how, oh, this happens so quickly. But the other thing I want to talk about is Garrett, like how quickly it manages to introduce Garrett and make her a character.
She's
like,
so good.
She gets barely any screen time in this, and yet she's someone that we've been talking about for years and being like, wouldn't it be great if they brought her back? I wonder what happens. And I don't know, but I assume she's in loads of the novels and stuff like that. Like I assume there's so much extra lore built up around this character who doesn't really do much, but it's in this one, but it's simply because she like what they do. I think what they do is good writers when they know they only have a character like for a little bit and they have to quickly get them in and go, hey, you quickly need to know what this character is about. You quickly need to know their personality, how they work, how they respond, rather than building her up over episodes. They do the same with the what's it called, the my favorite, the outrageous Acano, where they kind of
Yeah.
immediately go, bang, here's this guy, and we're going to give him like 5 lines of dialogue that tell you exactly who he is. And Garrett's first bit in this is when she's severely injured on the bridge. They're trying to get her out, and then I think Riker mentions like, "Oh yeah, we're going to beam you over to the Enterprise," and she's like, "The what?" And he's like, "Oh, our ship," and she's like, he's like, "Oh, I'll tell you later," and she's like, "No, you will tell me now," and it's and that single bit of dialogue just goes, "Oh, that is who she is as a character,"
The
and I
thing
fucking
is,
love it.
the thing is as well, and this is what I thoroughly enjoy is this is when Star Trek, like you said, could introduce these characters where, I mean, if you probably boil it down, the amount of screen time she has is maybe no more than 10 minutes
Yeah,
in this. But she's such a memorable character. She's such a well-developed character that when they announced Section 31 and they said Rachel Garrett's going to be in it, we were like, oh, this is the origin story to a captain that people have wanted to see more of for decades. And it was alluded, I mean, a legendary character. There was even a statue dedicated to her in Picard season 3. Blah blah
it
blah
is
blah blah.
smaller than the
And
Miles one, though. Obviously,
well, yeah, but the thing is with Garrett as well. The actor who plays her, I'm just trying to get her name, Trisha O'Neill, was a Trekkie to begin with. So she goes into a role
really,
fully knowing the background of Star Trek and be fully versed in everything that there is with Star. Because I believe it was Trisha O'Neill and forgive me,
we love Trisha. We love Trisha.
I'm just trying to get. I'm just trying to get the name, so please bear with me. Oh, for the love of God, why does Memory Alpha do this? Christopher McDonald. Now, Christopher McDonald plays Castile, so both McDonald and O'Neill were hardcore Star Trek fans before they took the roles, and you can tell in their performances, you can tell in their sheer dedication to the roles. They play Starfleet officers to a T, and McGarrett is so commanding. She is so in charge. Even when half of her ship has gone, most of her crew are dead, she is well and truly in command of her vessel. She demands to let her crew know. She, believes in her crew. She believes in the mission, even if it is a one-way mission. She thoroughly believes in it. And it makes me sad that we see such a great character like that and then they bring them back after 30 years in Section 31 and they are so unbelievably underused, underdeveloped, and just treated in a way where oh, this is the nerd of the group. When it's like, but this...
The upset about it is if you're going to do something like this is the biggest frustration that I have with stuff where people just go, I can throw a name in there and that's good enough, and you go, no, it is better not to put a name in than to not do it justice. Like, it's the same as when we get like adaptations of stuff where it's like, hey, we're going to make a Resident Evil movie, but we're not going to make it anything like the games. And you're like, why then? Why are you doing this? Like, make another movie. Like, that's why it's so crazy with the Masters of the Universe, because you're like, I know it's not doing particularly well, but it's incredible. I love it because it's just going, wow, this is one of the best adaptations of a source material I've ever seen. And the fact that Section 31 just kind of goes, oh yeah, we'll just get a character, and what can we call her? Oh, we'll call her Rachel Garrett. That's a name from Star Trek, isn't it? Yeah, people are like that. And I refuse to believe that they actually looked at this character here and went, that's how she's going to be, because what we get in Section 31 is nothing like this character. And like you say, does she do anything?
Do you feel...
I'm fucking not going to watch it a third time, but it's the fact of, she doesn't do anything in the movie of note.
This is what I was going to ask. Do you feel that Section 31 tarnished the legacy of Rachel Garrett?
Yes.
After watching yesterday's... Yeah.
Yes.
because she's such a
Genuinely, it's wait, this is the annoying thing. It's the fact of obviously after watching this episode, I went to the Memory Alpha
yeah,
page to look at it and go, hey, what does the page say about Rachel Garrett? And there's loads of shit about Section 31 on there. There is a
yeah.
picture of the character from Section 31. There is, and you're just like, that fuck off. Like, it's like and this is the most horrible thing in the entire world, but it's like having a sort of Wikipedia page for a famous person and then having to have one little section that talks about a criminal offense he had, where you're like, well, that's kind of ruined it, hasn't it? It's like a way you're just like, I know it needs to be there because it's like what happened, but it's
Hmm.
just, oh well, that's a tarnish upon the thing.
Peace, Love, and Star Trek does raise a good question, though. Is Garrett so memorable because she's one of the first women captains we see? When there's so little representation, we cling hard to any scraps, just an idea.
I think that is definitely a question for the women in the chat
Yeah,
because that the thing for me is obviously I don't notice these things. As a male, I'm kind of watching it being like, oh yeah, we've had loads of captains, we've had loads of this, and then you're just like, hang on.
yeah,
And you have to properly think into it, but it's the fact of obviously the amount of people that like worship Voyager because Janeway meant so fucking much to
yeah.
them as fans to be like, hey, finally. So yeah, like seeing this, like the idea of like, and obviously like how women were treated in the original series, where it was like this idea of going, hey, you had ones that were respected, then you had ones where it's like
And
felt a
also,
bit like second-class citizens on the
and and
Enterprise,
and
if I'm
and
honest.
and also, being told in the very last episode of TOS, oh, women can't be captains of starships, and
Exactly.
and then to have a woman captain in the Federation flagship, the Enterprise,
Yeah.
is I think at the time it would have been quite an achievement for Star Trek to say, hey, we have got this powerful we've got this powerful, strong woman in charge of the Federation flagship, and she's got such a presence, and I mean, even when she's
And she
clinging on to
feels like a
life,
she feels like a woman. It's the fact of
yeah,
because I that thing in the 80s where they went like, hey, we'll just like make a dominant woman character, but effectively they've just got an actress to play a male role. Like it's not geared towards it. Like obviously exception being Aliens and stuff where there's a lot of
yeah.
femininity in it. But like a lot of the time it was just like, oh well, we'll just give her a gun and sort that out.
But I
And yet
I
like
think
Garrett comes across as going, hey, she is tough. She's kind of going, hey, I don't care that I'm injured. I'm going to get back to work. And how's my crew doing and stuff. But she still comes across as a woman, and it's wonderful.
but my only drawback of this is, and this is one of my only criticisms of this episode, to
Wesley doesn't
kill
get decapitated.
decaffeinated. Um, my probably one and only criticism of this episode, or big criticism of this episode, is why did Garrett have to die? Why did Garrett have to die so Castile could take charge? There was no need in it. Why couldn't have Garrett gone out in a blaze of glory, leading her loyal crew to their inevitable demise? It upsets me quite a lot when I was watching it today, because it was like she's a hero to these people. Like she was clinging on to the edge, to life at the beginning of the episode, and her and her crew have managed to like get patched up, get the ship patched up, and go back into the fight for one. Like, oh, she's dead.
Yeah.
And it kind of got to me, because it's like, is it because Berman and the ilk wanted, oh, we need a young male and his female sidekick to leap into battle as
No,
star-crossed lovers, and I'm just like,
I I don't know. I think it's the case of like obviously Charlotte, Sarah, Beth. I'd be very interested to hear what your opinions are about Rachel Garrett in this episode and like the importance of having a female captain in
yeah,
Trek, like years before Janeway. Um, but I think the thing is with this and what they wanted to do with it, because spoilers, this episode is what causes the creation of Sela. And Sela is like a
yes,
recurring villain later on in TNG and online apparently, which
yeah,
is basically played by Tasha Yar's actress is Denise Crosby. Played by Denise Crosby, where what happens is after this episode, the Enterprise C goes back and then Tasha Yar is aboard it, and then she gets taken a prisoner, and then ends up having like a half Romulan child, which ends up being
Yeah.
Sela. And I think that the whole thing is that that timeline needs to change. So we need to go, what causes that to happen? Because in the
Yeah.
actual timeline, the ship just gets destroyed. The
Yeah.
Enterprise C literally just explodes, no survivors whatsoever. But then what happens is Garrett dying and Castile being put in charge and Tasha Yar being there to help out somehow means that they don't get fully destroyed. It means they get captured. It means like, something different happens that might not have happened if Garrett was still, there. And that's why it happens. It's just frustrating that it's like, hey, look, it's finally a female captain. Oh, she needs to die because of the plot. And you're like,
But
yeah, but I don't
I,
know. I wouldn't say that they wanted her to die just so that a man could take her job. I don't think, even if that was like a, subconscious thing, I don't think it was ever a sort of people sat down and agreed to that.
welcome on into the magnificent shed from Nice, France. God, I love Dave. I love Dave so much.
I was chatting to him earlier because I was like, I haven't messaged Dave in bloody ages.
He messaged me today, and he gave me some nice reassuring words when I was struggling today, and it really means I feel we should just, after Vegas, just go to Canada. No one will notice. We'll be fine. But yeah, we need to discuss the
Hold on, I'm gonna send you some nice reassuring words.
Oh, he's sending me some nice reassuring words. Bear with me, folks. We've got an incoming transmission.
Yeah, there we go.
Eventually. Incoming transmission from Science Officer Synoiz, everybody. Hang on, let me do the incoming transmission. Where's the incoming transmission? There it is.
Incoming transmission.
Yeah. That was not worth it.
Get your tits out for the lads. I really want to discuss the ramifications, you twat. The ramifications of this episode. Obviously, unification, which takes place nearly 2 years later in The Next Generation. Now, unification...
Can I just point out, I was shocked because I literally, when I was looking for this episode, I was like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in season 5. Oh, maybe it's not in season 5. Maybe it's in season 4. Oh, it's not in season 4. Is it really in season 3? I totally forgot that it was that early on. Like you're saying, it's like when 7 comes into Voyager and it all changes.
It's
like
a watershed
season 3
moment.
of TNG was like, oh, we know what we're doing now,
This was like what I keep saying is, like, with season 3, there was a lot of pivotal moments in season 3, right? There was a lot of visual changes, there was a lot of writing changes. Yesterday's Enterprise was that beginning to pivot to a certain style of writing and storytelling, and then it culminated in the best of both worlds, which was the apex moment in not only The Next Generation but in Star Trek itself. But I do want to discuss. Why is Mark messaging me? Why are you watching football? I want to
send him my transmission.
I will in a minute. I want to talk about the ramifications to this episode, which is unification, which is just under 2 years later in The Next Generation, which is a sequel to this episode and also a sequel to Star Trek The Undiscovered Country, which also came out at the same time. And to sort of unify both that movie and that episode together, and to bring in Sela and to sort of go, oh... And because when you see it for the first time, you go, oh my God, it's Tasha Yar. And then you go, and she's like, oh, I'm Sela. And then she explains that she's the daughter of Tasha Yar. Yeah. And then to sort of, because at the end of this episode, spoilers, they detect a wormhole. They thought there was a ship. There was nothing there. And they're on the merry way. Only Guinan vaguely recalls anything that may have happened and starts asking about Tasha Yar. So to then have the crew be told by Sela, oh, well, my mother was on the Enterprise C, and she was captured, and this and this and this. It's incredible. It's such a great thing. And it's something that Star Trek didn't really do at the time when you think about it. It didn't really do these long sequels.
We didn't have big sort of like, hey, this changes everything. Like it's, I know years later we've had it where we have like Best of Both Worlds, where it's like, oh my God, Picard becomes Locutus and stuff. Oh my God, that's going to traumatize him for so long. And then we pretty much don't really talk about it again in Next Gen. It kind of just goes, oh yeah, we kind of forget about it. Now he's back to normal and stuff like that. But then, like, obviously the material made afterwards, like the movie and stuff, was just like, oh yeah, actually we'll make a much bigger deal out of it here. And obviously Picard season 1 and 2 and 3 go, oh, this is a big deal. But like that was what we were used to. We're used to stuff like not really in the same show having ramifications. The idea that this goes, hey, this one-off episode where this one-off thing happened has massive consequences for the galaxy and future episodes.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic. And it just adds to the world building that Star Trek was doing, especially from season 3 onwards, because you get so many things. I mean, the episode after this is the one with Data's daughter.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, these are just such amazingly pivotal episodes. And you go, oh, God, it's just so good. But, with unification and then obviously the beta canon with Sela in Star Trek Online and stuff like that, there was such a demand, and there still is a demand for Sela to return to the Star Trek universe. It'll never happen. Never, ever happen. But there is such a demand. And again, it goes back to what you said about these characters. I mean, with the exception of Tasha Yar, Sela was a character that was in 1 or 2 episodes, or maybe 3 episodes. 4 episodes.
I think she's 3 episodes. I think it's 3.
But the impact that she has in Star Trek lore is so... is so huge that 35 years later, there is still cries for her to come back, because we don't get, we don't get a resolution to Sela. We don't know what happened to her or anything like that. And what disappointed me quite a lot was, even in Star Trek Nemesis, where it is a Romulan-focused movie, there is nothing about Sela.
Denise Crosby in to do it.
Right.
It would have just been so good as a fan thing.
But they could have done a lot of, they could have done a lot of things where it was like, oh, well, they took her DNA, and then, the Sela could have parented Shinzon or something. We don't know. But,
it could have been that Sheila, the whole thing was Sheila's plan. Sheila's plan was, hey, sorry.
No, let's call her Sheila. Let's call her Australian Romulan.
This is the other timeline.
Jolon True.
This is where Tasha Yar goes over to the Enterprise C, but she's taken a Barbie with her or something.
A crate of Fosters for the battle.
Yeah, when they're transporting her across, she gets fused with a crate of Fosters, and therefore, and so when the Romulans capture her, it becomes Sheila as the child. Yeah,
Tasha Yar, mate.
It's in canon now.
It's Australian Yar is canon. And then the Romulans gave birth to Empress Sheila.
But what was I saying before? Sela. But I've forgotten the point I was making. But yeah.
No, go on. You'll remember.
No, I can't remember. Yeah, but at what point would I make about Sela if I was me about
such a pivotal character?
I guess it's the fact of like I would have made her the villain of the movie, because then it would have, like we have with the what are they called, the Dumas sisters and stuff.
Yes, the Duras sisters.
The Duras. Sorry, mental blank. It's so.
Du hast bis.
Du hast mich. Du hast mich gefragt.
Duras.
Gefragt. But yeah, anyway, but with the Duras sisters and stuff, them translating into one of the movies and getting their big finish in it was amazing. It was like, wow, okay, this is, they have a conclusion, but like seeing these villains from the show get the movie treatment was pivotal, I think. And so it would have been so good in Nemesis if it was like, yep, Sela's whole plan is she's getting back at Picard, so she's like given birth to a hybrid child that is like his child and part Romulan and whatnot, and that would be so good.
It really would. It would have been more exciting to see that, and again to have her back in Picard would have been. I mean, even in the first season, even if we saw that she was, the head of the cult or something like that, where she was deposed from Romulan government and then went into this secret cabal where they were tackling android life, and you have to think like how much of an ultimate irony would it be that Tasha Yar's daughter was the downfall of androids?
Yeah.
When
so she fucked them in both ways, really.
Awkward silence for the Spotify listeners. Moving on. But I mean, no, I mean this is a really good episode, and the Klingon War. I do want to discuss this. The Klingon War. It's not going well for the Federation. They've lost half of their fleet, and it's 6 months they're going to surrender.
That is my favorite bit of the episode. My favorite bit of the episode is when Rachel Garrett is going, "What's the point? We could help out here. What's the point in us going back through the rift to our like guaranteed deaths when we could actually be helping you win this war by using our extra weaponry?" And then Picard just whispers at her. Hold on, I wrote it down. Yeah, basically just whispers at her like, yeah, the war is going very badly, and they're not saying, and basically like 6 months, and the Federation are going to surrender, and that's crazy. Like we've never hit any point like not even during the Dominion War in DS9 are like people talking terms. Like is the Federation going, "Hi, cool, they're on the doorstep, we're going to lose this one"? Like it never gets that bad. Like the closest we have, in the last episode we did Sacrifice of Angels, that's like, hey, if this happens, that could be really, really bad, but we'd still actually have a chance afterwards, kind of thing.
This is
the idea that it's so bad. Like it actually kind of annoys me that we don't get to see more of what this reality is like outside of this episode, because you're just like, how bad is this? Like, what's happened? What's the state of Earth? What's the state of this? Like, where is everyone? Where's the other admirals and things? But then again, Picard doing this, where he's whispering it so the rest of the crew don't find out, and that's something that he never does because they're usually fully honest and upfront about stuff. That says more than probably seeing it.
But what we see in this episode is the crew that we have known for 3 years up until this point, war weary. They are run down. This war has been going for 20 years. Most of these people that we know have joined Starfleet within that time have essentially enlisted into the war. They've done the combat training and everything like that, and they are war weary. And what I love about this episode, like one of the things I do love, is there's not a whole lot outside of the Enterprise talking about the Klingon War, and I mean, maybe words of like 40 billion dead and stuff like that, but it's the change of wording, like instead of captain's log, battle log, calling the Enterprise a battleship, and that's a battle cruiser, and listening to the Tannoy announcements where they have a CIC, they have hospital wards on the Enterprise, they have 0G wards, they have more than one chief medical, like CMO, they have more than one doctor. It's a fully functional warship, and it's the tiny
it's a fully
little
fleshed out reality from the writers. That's the exciting bit.
It's those tiny, but it's the tiny little details in this episode that make it feel authentic, and that make it feel, I don't need to see any more to know how this reality is going and how it's panning out, where they are on the back foot. And you can even tell the way that Frakes plays Riker in this episode, where again, he's war weary, but he sees every opportunity to the Enterprise see as essentially a resource. it's an opportunity to get another ship. I don't want to scrap it. I would hate for Starfleet to lose another ship. And, we could do this and we can turn it. We've got 100 people, 100 survivors. And it's, it's someone that's being rational out of sheer desperation, thinking out of sheer desperation of anything that could help in the war, not even turn the tide, just help. And you have to think, like, it's those tiny little it's the tiny little observations, the tiny little tannoy announcements, scripts, writing changes that they make to go, yeah, this is not just a ship that's at war, this is fatigue, this is weariness, this is a crew that has been doing this for a long time, and fresh blood is being enlisted, but literally they're just enlisting to go and die, to go and sacrifice, because the Federation has fundamentally changed in the matter of a quarter of a century to go from a peaceful scientific exploration organization to an army. And a lot of people up to this point were probably wondering, hey, what would Starfleet be if it was more like the Navy, if it was more like the Army? And this is it. This is how it would look, and this is how it would feel. And
because the joy of the Enterprise in both the original series and Next Generation is that, yes, it has military capabilities, but it's an exploration and diplomatic vessel. It's the fact of they're not built for kind of war, and that's kind of what makes it amazing. Like the fact of, obviously, the Dominion War is what makes them go, hey, maybe we need better weapons, maybe we need better defenses and stuff like that. But like, so it's really interesting getting to see what the Next Generation Enterprise would be like in war situations if it was entirely militarily focused.
But this is what season 3 and early season 4 did. It showed how the Federation, up until the point of the Next Generation, wasn't really concerned with conflicts and wars and stuff, and how when a war does happen, they end up on the back foot. They can hold their own, but it's a war of attrition. And they don't have the infrastructure that the Klingon Empire has. They don't have the what's it called? The collective drive to continue, fighting until the end. And for the Federation to openly discuss capitulating and surrendering within 6 months to the Klingon Empire, something that you would never imagine doing, and like you said, was never discussed during the Dominion War or anything like that. It was fighting to the bloody end.
Like, this is a little snapshot of going, this is probably the worst it's ever been. Like, what we see in this episode. And there's something fascinating about that. Like, how is there anything, like, people in the chat who are probably even bigger fans than us, are there supplementary materials in this kind of reality? Like, have
I
they
would love
done
to know
set into this future?
Yeah,
I kind of wonder, because the amount of stuff where they've gone, hey, Rachel Garrett, hey, like, what's happening here and stuff. But I'd be really interested to know if people have gone like, hey, let's flesh out this Klingon War a bit more and then see what that's about.
I would have loved to have seen an alternate universe with this, because like I said, with the poor Enterprise C, they quantum leap in beta canon.
This almost feels like the TNG Mirror Universe episode. Because famously,
that we
TNG
never
is
had.
the one that doesn't get Mirror Universe episode, but this feels like that. Like, this is like, hey, everyone hasn't flipped and become like evil versions of themselves, but it's become this horrible dystopia, and we get to see how characters we know and love would act in that. And it is kind of cool that they don't change that much. Like, they're still on the most part the same characters, of just going like, because they're professionals. But the main thing, and obviously this is the wonderful get the paycheck kind of thing, where we get the wonderful scene with Worf at the beginning of the episode.
Oh, yes.
Because that's it. He is missing. He is missing for most of the episode, because as soon as the future changes and it's a war against the Klingons, Worf would not be there. That is the whole... Worf would not be in Starfleet. They would be totally distrusting of all Klingons. He's not part of it. So they do the whole get your paycheck at the beginning of the episode, and then you have a little bit at the end,
But I love the way they shot that. I love the way they set it up on the bridge, where Picard is in the forefront. in focus, sees the temporal rift, pulls away. We go to the far shot into focus with Worf. The Enterprise C comes out. Reality changes. Picard is in focus again. Steps aside, and then it's Yar.
Yeah.
I love that shot because obviously that was Yar's station in season 1 of The Next Generation. But I love that shot because immediately it lets the audience know something is gravely wrong. That Worf is just gone.
The best thing is that it doesn't make a big deal out of it.
No.
That's what I love. The fact that everyone just continues talking and you're just like, are we going to talk about the fact that Yar is back? And that's what's great about it. It doesn't do a kind of big sort of, we talk about it because it doesn't lean into her. It doesn't kind of suddenly go like, I think a lot of shows would make her the cold open. It would zoom into her face and then the title sequence would go. But instead it just goes, no, she's there. She's just there doing stuff or whatever. And it's, I don't know, like...
Yeah, because this is the normal timeline. What do you want about? Of course Yara is there.
Exactly. That's wonderful that they do that. But also, got to get out of the way to talk about the Worf sequence at the beginning. The introduction of prune juice. The introduction of prune juice. And also a rare interaction between Guinan and Worf.
Yeah, right.
It's in 10 forward, and it's Guinan introducing Worf to prune juice for the first time, and him being like, "This is amazing! It's a warrior's drink."
But it's prune juice, and also Guinan going, "Hey, girl, you need to get some."
What do you think? Like this. Hold on, get a poll ready, Goodwill.
Oh, I'm going to get my poll out.
We need to get
Hang
the
on.
chat going.
I need to get my poll out. I've got my poll out. Right, what do you want? What do you want to put on? What do you want me to put on the side of my poll?
Was Guinan trying to get some? That's what. Because the problem is, I was watching this and I was like, her talking about, because there's this aspect to how Whoopi Goldberg plays the character of. Is she going like, hey, as the only person qualified on the ship to actually be a counselor, because she's not doing it, she's eating chocolate sundaes. It's, like, it's sort of, hey, I think you would benefit from having some company, like maybe get a female friend or whatever. But there's an edge to it that's kind of like going, so you should probably, are you wanting to be sexually active? Maybe is that possible? I don't know. I kind of read it as her kind of going, so still single, eh?
Pawns up!
Fucking hell.
The question...
For the audio listeners, the poll has been entitled, was Guinan trying to get two dicks? It's even worse when I read it out. Janeway killed two dicks.
Oh, I love it because it's got two meanings.
Oh no, my mind, I've ruined it. My mind immediately went
I'm an Elorian, I can handle it.
And Neelix. But
oh, not the cheese. Okay,
already 75% people voting for yes.
It's coming alive.
But this is the thing. I respect this. I'm just like going, yeah, you get it, girl. But no, I love it. I love this little scene between them. But I do love that. Like, I think this is pretty heavy, because this is a kid show. Like this episode, like obviously we have like the exploding head body snatcher things in season 1, which is wow. That must
conspiracy,
yeah, that must have freaked kids out. But in this one, we get to see a fair bit of blood. Like I know you're saying there was going to be more, but it's still more than we're used to on Trek.
I mean, it's a bit gory.
With a toy airplane in her head. You're going to see like Riker. The actual injury detail on Riker when Riker gets killed at the end is actually brutal. That looks great. But it's the fact of like it has this, but this conversation between Worf and like Guinan is amazing because it's. Yeah, she's basically going, hey, do you want any female companionship? And he's like, human women are too, what does he call them? Too fragile. He goes, human women are too fragile. And she's just like, no, I'm pretty sure some of them would say that you were pretty tame. And then he's just like, no, What does he say? He
Have-
says,
have-
"Yeah,
have
I
you-
have to think about the safety of my crewmates."
Yeah.
And you're just going, he's talking about the safety of his crewmates in a sexual sense because
Also, has
he's
he
a
ever
Klingon and has two dicks.
Has
So,
he ever dated a Macam? Oh, I'll
God.
take you on, Wharf lad.
I love it. Like sort of, a virgin in Sunderland is just about as rare as a reform voter with a degree, but it's
Or a plumbing qualification. Anyway,
a qualification.
teeth.
Or without a criminal record, seemingly looking at our bloody councillors.
Or
Just to
on a-
tarnish everyone with that.
on a list. Or not allowed within 500 foot of a school. But
Politics
anyway,
are bleak.
it's quite an interesting episode from a Ghanaian perspective, because this is an episode where we get an interaction with her and Worf and her and Tasha Yar, two characters of which she very rarely has interactions with
Well, she
on a singular.
never has interactions with
No,
Yar.
but-
That's the joke, that's the crazy thing.
No,
on
but
the
that's the
episode.
thing. That's what I'm meaning. Like it's sort of, it bookends with Guinan. Like, so it starts with Guinan talking to Worf, and then the middle is Guinan talking to Yar, and then at the end it's Guinan talking to LaForge. So there's a nice little bookend.
And LaForge, like, yes, LaForge does get interactions with Guinan, like more so than other characters. I think it's later than this episode. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, but at this point it is interesting. Like, it's because it kind of adds that extra lore to go, oh yeah, remember this is a living and breathing crew where they
Yeah.
are all talking to each other and they're all having personal relationships between their duties and whatnot. And I like that that's what this episode does. It goes, hey, Guinan and Geordie just sometimes hang out. Like Guinan and like and you imagine that Worf and Guinan don't hang out, but Guinan's kind of gone over there and sat next to him while he's like drinking alone and being like, drinking alone again, you should get yourself some company, you know?
But it also establishes that Guinan was definitely not on the ship until season 2.
Yeah.
Because she never met Tasha Yar. She never interacted with her. So that's it.
And I think that's the wonderful thing. Like, this is, once again, like with Rachel Garrett, what annoys me is that Guinan came back for season 2 with Picard, and they just kind of didn't really do much with her. Like, as in, they didn't really explain her powers. Like, I kind of go like, the Elorians are cool because their powers aren't really explained. They've got powers, they can do loads of crazy stuff, but like, and like this, where we see that Guinan has such a, I think Data mentions that she has an awareness of, what is it?
Alternate realities, essentially.
Yeah. Oh, bollocks. I wrote it down. I don't know. But basically, Data points out the idea that she has some kind of awareness of temporal shifts.
Yeah.
Because what we have is that when everyone moves to the future, everyone shifts to this new reality. Guinan's the one looking around being like, this isn't right. This isn't how things should be. And that's what makes me go, wow, this isn't like a separate timeline. This is actually that the existing timeline has actually changed, which is not usually what you get in this. But I really like Guinan in this episode, and I like the sort of mysteriousness about her powers and stuff. But and how she interacts, but how she knows that Yar shouldn't be there, and it's very cryptic because she's like, I don't even know you, but I know you shouldn't be here, but I know who you are. And it's like whatever she taps into, like there's something around her. You know how people talk about auras and things, where they're like, they can see an aura around someone, or they can see something that kind of indicates something about a person, like that it's the universe telling them something. It kind of feels like that, where Guinan is able to be like, I don't know what it is, but the universe is telling me this. She shouldn't be here. She's dead.
But again, going back to... Oh, excuse me. But again, going back to... It's been a long week. Going back to the one thing we love about Star Trek is Guinan goes to Picard and goes, hey, this is all wrong. We shouldn't be at war. Yar, goes to Tasha Yar, like, you should be dead. You died a meaningless purpose.
Bear in mind, she doesn't tell her that. she tells her that when prompted. It's not a
Yeah,
case
yeah.
of her going up to her saying, "Hey, you shouldn't be here," but it's the fact of Guinan is noticeably like can't even hide how shocked, how
But
freaked out she is
but
by Yar.
my
That
point,
Yar prompts for it.
the point I'm getting to is that the sheer level of trust
Mm.
that they have in Guinan to take this seriously, and it's that they're at war. They are tired. They are weary. The war is not going well, and even then, Guinan just pops up and goes, "This reality is wrong. You need to send that ship back. They need to sacrifice and everything." And it's that level of trust that they have in Guinan to take that theory and go, well, what if we do send them through? What if this one? It's like she sets off this plan. She sets off this. She plants a seed. And she can't explain it, and she can't give hard evidence or anything like that. She just has to. She just wants them to believe her. She wants Picard to believe her and trust her that this reality is not right, and that by sending that ship back, it will alter the reality and potentially save billions of lives.
Well, the thing that I had when I was writing my notes for this, and I was trying to, because usually I'll kind of try and come up with what the moral of the episode is, or what the lesson is, or what the underlying theme of the episode is. And with this one, there isn't really one. Like the stuff that I'd usually look at, it's the idea of this is more of a kind of science thing of going, hey, wouldn't it be cool if this happened? But the themes that we could go with are the idea of having a purpose, which is the
Yeah,
idea of Yar being like, hey, I can make a difference if I do this, or the idea of going, hey, by like sometimes by dying you can actually help, like sometimes by sort of fulfilling your destiny you can do more good than what immediately seems like a better idea. So there is that kind of story, but the other thing is the idea of trust. And obviously I've said it before, the wonderful thing about Star Trek is that people in this future, okay, in the utopian future that Star Trek is set in the Federation, is where people aren't insecure. People aren't constantly insecure about themselves. People aren't constantly made to be insecure by a society that needs people to stay in line. You know, it's freedom. It's space
yeah.
communism, effectively, and it's this idea, which is well, that's kind of the opposite of communism. Like in our modern day attempts
It's
at
a
communism,
socialist utopia.
yeah, a socialist utopia. There we go. But it's the thing that I love is someone going, "Oh yeah, you're the chief engineer. I will just believe what you say about engineering." Like the idea that Picard will ask people for options and he will believe those options. And when he pushes back on them, he's kind of saying, "Hey, is there anything we can do about that? Okay, well, do we have alternatives and stuff like that?" He won't basically go, "I don't believe you." And like, and that's the problem we have nowadays, where literally you can be at your job for like 10 years or whatever. You can be doing all this stuff. You can have this whole catalog of stuff behind you to be like, hey, this is me, this is me, this is me, repeated all over the shop, and this is what I'm good at, this is what I know about stuff. And you'll always get someone who's like, actually, no, no, I don't buy that. No, actually, can I get a second opinion? Or, oh, actually, actually, no, I don't think you're right about that. Or, oh, you've done this thing that I don't like, and that undoes everything, that I feel about you, or something. Like, there's this latent distrust amongst people. And the joy of Star Trek is, what if we just actually believed people when they go, hey, this is I'm the one doing this job, this is what we do. It's why the Barclay episodes are wonderful in their way, because people do give him so much fucking leeway, where even when he's doing this insane stuff, they're like, well, we'll fucking try it then. We'll take 10 minutes to test out your theory, kind of thing. Like Geordie gives him a lot of like time. And in this one, the fact that Guinan can do that and go like, look, our history together, our history together, and when have I ever been like sort of done something or said something or made you do something when it wasn't really important, and
Yeah.
that everyone is willing to go, Yeah, and the trust, like we say, we don't get mutiny. We don't get all the people on the Enterprise C being like, I don't want to go back to die. They go, hey, our captain has said this. We trust our captain. We're going to go into that.
Yeah.
Like, and it's, I know, I think that's the wonderful thing about Trek, because wouldn't it be wonderful if people actually try to understand us rather than see everything as a threat or see everyone as you're just saying that because you're trying to fuck me over or something. Like the amount of times I get it at work where well, I'll suggest something or I will well, we've had it with a particular person as part of a particular group we were at where when you make an honest criticism of something and say, hey, maybe we should be doing this way, they take it as a personal attack. They take it as, why do you suddenly hate me? And it's like, we don't. It's like we're just trying to do that. And that's that horrible distrust that comes from insecurity that we have in our reality that the wonderful future of Star Trek kind of avoids.
The one thing I love about Star Trek,
Sorry, big rant there.
and not to harp on about what you just touched on there, is that people recognize everyone's strengths and everyone's weaknesses, and they work together and they believe in one another. They trust one another because they work together for a common goal. And again, yeah, I to just echo what you just said there, giving constructive criticism or giving feedback, not at all negative, but giving constructive feedback to go, hey, I know a little bit about this. If we did it this way, we could do that. And then that being seen as a personal attack, you get nowhere. You get nowhere working with people like that. You get to a point where, oh, I'm good at this, so I'm gonna do it all. But if anyone gives me any criticism, I'm gonna see it as a personal attack, and I'm not gonna listen to them because I know what I need to do and I know what's best. And the thing is, when you look at me and you, like, I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses. I know what you are absolutely amazing at, and I've started to rely more on you. So I go, hey,
Actually, my weaknesses are massive though. I'm weak to fire, to bullets, gravity. That's a big one. Yeah, sorry, in a job interview once, someone asked me what my weaknesses are, and I just listed loads of sort of stuff like fire and poison. And it's just like, yeah, might not be taking this seriously.
But we work well because whatever I trust what you say. I trust what you do. You come to me with an idea, I give you feedback, you go away, and no, but that you don't just go, well, that's shit, I'm doing it my way. You actually listen, you understand, and we work together towards a common goal. That is what a crew should do. That is how people should work together. But we don't get it in our society. We don't get it at work. You get it at your work. I get it at my work, where it's like, I know what I'm doing. Oh, well, yeah, but you've only been here for this long, so we're not going to really trust your opinion. So we'll go, oh, they recommend the same thing. Oh, well, we'll go with that, despite the fact that he said it first. And it's sort of like, but
Yeah.
There's no respect, there's no valuing of that person's opinion, there's no
And it's
help
because
to grow.
It's because everyone's on the back foot. It's the fact of everyone is coming from a defensive angle with stuff where they're like, hey, I need to make sure that I don't look bad because of these decisions that other people have made around me. Whereas in
Yeah.
Star Trek, you have the thing of like the captain's like, yep, I'm responsible for everything. So if any of my crewmates does something shitty, that's my fault because I allowed it to happen. That is how hierarchies
Yeah.
work. The person above takes responsibility for the people below them. It's not a case of middle managers constantly being like sort of, oh, how can I possibly make it so this wasn't my fault? Oh, okay. And oh, I don't know. Anyway, we should probably move on from it. But with the stuff, like, it's really funny today because obviously if you are part of the Nerdy Up North, the Trekking Up North Discord, we had a vote. We This is hilarious. We had a vote on our, like, because we're putting together our new merch store, which should be going live wonderfully soon, which is quite terrifying. I wonder what you're gonna get. Oh, the cap, there we go. because I don't reveal other things, because we have things that we could reveal, but
I
we
don't
won't.
have other things to reveal.
I do. However, they are literally
The
right next to
the
me. but I
trekking
will
up
not
north
reveal them.
tongs are still in R&D.
But but we have merchandise coming and stuff like that. But what we were trying to work out what to call the merch store, so we've called it Adequate Merch, and it will encompass both trekking up north, your Twitch stuff like good Truck Will and stuff, my music stuff is Synoiz, the Velvet Snatch, the Nerdy Quiz. So it's going to be all of our merchandise is going to be under this one brand called Adequate Merch. And so I quickly sort of knocked up some logo concepts because I'm terrible at logos. But the fact is, yeah, we could go to Mike, we could go to other people, we could ask people. But I was like, I'll just knock some up. And I quickly came up with two logo concepts because I didn't have much time. And one of them I quite liked. I really liked it, and I went, "Hey, cool! I think that's the one we're gonna go with." But we'll ask Goodwill. And then the second one was just meh. I was like, "Oh, I'm not really keen on that." And then you saw them, and you were like, "Not really sure. Can we swap around?" So we made a third one, and we were like, "Yeah, actually, this works. This works." We put it to a public vote in the Trekking Up North Discord. And the one that we literally written off, the one we were like, that's a bit shit, let's not do that, literally won by about 90% of the vote, which is like, and me and Good were like, oh, well, we were both wrong there.
Democracy manifest.
But that's exactly it. So what I was doing before we came online here was basically tweaking the one that people voted on and be like, how can we make this like good? So me and Goodwill are happy with it to the point of that, because obviously it resonated with people. People have liked it. So we're like, cool, we will go with that because that's what we do. And also the wonderful thing is, and I don't know how people feel about this in the chat. This is not talking about the episode. This is just life in general. I'm one of those people where I get decision paralysis because I constantly want to do everything perfect. I go, hey, if we do something, it has to be absolutely dead on perfect.
Yeah.
Every time. And that usually stops me from doing stuff. It usually stops me from actually taking action because I just go, well, I can't do it right, so no point doing it.
Yeah.
And the fact that we can just change our logo, so we can just put our logo out and go like, hey, here it is, and then a couple of weeks time be like, actually, it's the internet. We can just swap that JPEG around, or well, PNG. We can do that. Like, and with the merch and stuff, the idea of going, hey, we can just put merch out there, and if it doesn't sell, then we can tweak it. We can go, hey, cool, let's actually make it different. Let's do this. Let's ask people for feedback on it. Because we can do that, that makes it a lot easier to make decisions about stuff. But yeah, anyway, that was my
it's
growth
again
for the week.
No, but the thing is, it's relevant to the episode because it's all about trusting others and working together for a common goal. But getting back to this, I mean, like I said, I really like this episode. I think this episode is an early fantastic episode of the Next Generation. It's one of those pivotal episodes. What's Charlie saying? If I'm doing cupcakes, I will make like 36 just to get 12 perfect ones.
Yeah.
Me too. You are not alone.
My house is literally. You've seen my hallway. My hallway is literally just it's constant DIY where there's like sort of saws lying around and stuff, and there's like plaster buckets and stuff. And it's purely because I started work on it, realized I was out of my depth, and then got decision paralysis, where I was like, I don't know what color to paint the walls. I can't do this because I don't know what colors I want everything to be. I don't know if I want like varnished wood or if I want painted wood and stuff. And then like it's the idea of going, you can change it. You can just paint the walls red and go, well, that looks terrible. Buy another like 2 buckets of like £20 paint or whatever and do it again. And yeah, we need to realize that. We need to realize that every decision isn't the final one necessarily. Yes, there are some big ones where you can't do like getting a new job. You go, oh, I want to change this or whatever. You can go to a new job and be like, well, this is wank, so let's try again. And I've had a friend recently do that. They literally started a new job, did like 3 weeks there, and they were still in their probation. They're like, yeah, no, this is awful. Let's not do this. Let's move to another one.
It's. Yeah, I mean the whole job thing. It's it's if yeah, I will.
Let's not
will,
talk about jobs.
let's not talk about jobs. But no, I mean, I really love Yesterday's Enterprise. I think it is a fantastic episode. Do you have any further notes for this before I melt?
I wonder if I want to talk about Guinan more in this, but I don't. I think we've kind of covered Guinan in it. Like, I think the way it works, because we do get like a bit of an argument between them, like where Picard is arguing with Guinan about like what the hell. Because I think one of the funniest concepts in the entire world is us if we just pulled a Guinan, because essentially. You could go, any of us could just go into a situation, walk into a room and be like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
This isn't how things should be. Like, I can just go to the pub and do that and then hopefully convince everyone that there's been some kind of flux in time and that actually everything's different. Because
that's how I feel.
Have the edibles just kicked in? Is that what happens with Guinan, where she's literally like, wait a minute, this isn't right? Like, I'd like to see an alternate version of this where Guinan actually is just trolling people and just gets them to kill off everyone on the Enterprise.
But sometimes, like, I feel like that. Like, I feel like I've done a lot of reminiscing lately, and I've done a lot of thinking and stuff like that. And you have to think. Like, I'm taking stock of things in life, and I'm like, this is not right. No, but you can't pinpoint what it is that's not right, but it's not what you're supposed, it's not where you're supposed to be, it's not what you're supposed to be doing, it's not how you feel, you can't describe it. It's what's that German word? Schadenfreude.
No.
Yeah, Schadenfreude.
I don't think that's relevant. Schadenfreude is where you basically take enjoyment out of someone else's suffering.
Oh,
yeah,
that's me.
You might need something else.
But it's there's that feeling of displacement, not belonging, that things are not as they should be in life, and like you said, you sit there and you go, what do I do? And then you get decision paralysis, and then you go, well, what can I do? What do I do? Because I don't know exactly what it is that's causing the horrible issue.
Thing about our society, where our society keeps us on the back foot in order to kind of keep us in line, in order to keep us doing the 9 to 5, doing all this, and keeps us. What is it, bread and circuses, where it's the idea of going like, hey, be content enough with your streaming channels and your football and stuff like that, but never rise up, never try to change the way of doing things. Like it gives you just enough space. The carrot is just close enough, Whereas in Trek, we don't see that. In Trek, we kind of go like, because imagine if you had plenty of money, okay? Like if we were living like 30, 40 years ago, like, before a certain bitch took over the UK and pretty much ruined it. I had a massive rant with someone the other day because they were saying, oh, Thatcher wasn't that bad. So I listed all of the things that are shit about today that are directly because of Thatcher. But I'm not going to go into that rant.
Yeah.
But it's that idea of if it was like 40, 50 years ago, where you could literally just be like, hey, okay, cool. I saved up for 3 years. I've fully bought my house now. And I've got like money behind me so that I can actually potentially change things. So I can have enough in the bank so I can have a buffer to go, hey, maybe I do this, maybe I do that. Like, it's not really possible nowadays, unless in certain industries. It's not like you can't just be like, hey, you know what? Actually, I'm going to save up enough money that I can survive for a year and I will try and be an artist. I will try and do this. I'll try and do that. Like, and we should be doing that's what people do in Trek. Like the idea of, because everything's free in the Federation, it's the idea of people be like, hey, I want to try and be an artist. Oh, that didn't work. I try and do this. Okay, I'm going to train this. Hey, I want a higher purpose. I want to do something. I'm going to join Starfleet. I'm going to do this. And it makes people better people because they're not worrying about
they're not burdened.
Yeah, they're not. Then when people are not worrying about basic existing, they actually have time for higher purposes, which is, yeah. Hello,
Yeah.
Transporter Room. Welcome to the chat.
Hello, that is. I mean, we've just been on a tiny little rant about everything in life. But do you have any other notes for yesterday's Enterprise?
I don't think I do. There's plenty more things I can say. I will say though, I do love
He's an egg.
Yes, I turned into an egg. It is interesting though that the space battle that we get is actually fairly clunky. Like it's the fact of, like obviously we had Sacrifice of Angels. This is probably the next big space battle, I think, like Wolf 359. But like this is like one where it's a bit of a fight between them. We get to see a lot of tactics being thrown around, but it's like it's not as good.
It's not as good. It's very clunky. It's burdened by 1990 special effects and budget. And I mean, I like the bridge explosions. It's a bit more dramatic. It's the way that the bridge is set up, the way the lighting's done, and it's very thing. And I mean, we get one of the greatest phrases in The Next Generation from Picard, where he goes, "Let's make sure history never forgets the name Enterprise," and that is synonymous with this episode. And what I also loved as well, what I missed, was where the Klingons go, "Oh, Federation starship, prepare to surrender and be boarded." And he just goes, "That'll be the day," and just does the cutest little jump over the little wooden barrier on the bridge, and just goes down fighting as Picard would normally do. But yeah, I mean, the battle's clunky, but it doesn't take away from this fantastic episode. What?
I just found a note that I'd forgotten about. The scene where Guinan goes in to see Picard and is basically sort of like saying, "Hey, this isn't right," kind of thing. I love that. I wrote down that she goes a bit stop the boats. She goes a bit reform, because she literally comes in and says, like, it's like, this ship shouldn't be here. That ship shouldn't be here. It's got to go back. You're like, okay, stop the boats, Guinan.
Guinan Farage in 10 forward.
But then she has the line sort of, "I only know that I'm right," which is
ooh, yeah, that's
bold
very
move. Yeah,
it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. Or they all die. Any other note?
But the final thing I want to mention is the final scene, which is wonderful, which is basically it flips back to the bridge that we all know and love, and then Guinan messages the bridge and goes like, contacts the bridge and goes like, "Hey, how is everything? Oh, it's all fine," And I love that kind of going, "Oh yeah, actually she knows it's gone back to how it should be." And then it cuts to her in 10 forward with Geordi, and she sits down and she's like, "Geordi, tell me about Tasha Yar." And I kind of love this. It's kind of like this idea of saying that even when people are dead, they live on because of the people that remember them. Yeah. And, I've seen people see that as like a negative thing of going, yes, but that's finite. So once all the people that know who you are die, then, sort of like, then you are forgotten and all that lark.
Oh.
But it's the idea of, it's not that case, because people can tell you, like the fact of whenever we talk about sort of, oh, my friend did this, or my mum did this, or whatever, it's the idea of we are continuing their legacy or passing it on in a small way to the rest of the world. And so I like the idea of Guinan, who had no interaction with Tasha Yar whatsoever, wanting to know about them and learning about them and looking stuff up about them, and kind of keeping her alive for another person, And she's going to be around for a very long time, which is cool.
Tasha Yar is an enduring character in Star Trek, and so she should be. Anything else?
No, I don't think so. I'm just reading what Transporter Room's saying in the chat, what Mr. Chris is saying.
I believe that.
He's just saying that he really liked that she could tell that something was different. Yeah, I like it.
Well, that has been our very sticky and very moist review of yesterday's Enterprise from Star Trek The Next Generation. I don't have a challenge this week, because I want nothing but positivity, and I want to review another good episode, because I'm the captain and I can do what I want, because this is not a democracy. This is an autocracy. I am the king. So without further ado, welcome everybody to the Dabo Wheel of Honour. If this is your first time watching Trekkin Up North, firstly, welcome on in. Click that like button and subscribe while you're there. Pop it, won't you? Cheers for me, dears. Go on. Oh, would you believe? Give it a tap. Give it a tap. Get a thumb up. Get a thumb up there.
Get a thumb up.
Get a thumb up. Yeah, don't put a thumb down. Get it up
in the comments.
We do love a good thumb. If this is your first time watching Trekkin Up North, welcome to the Dabo Wheel of Honour. Within the Dabo Wheel, Science Officer Synoiz has programmed every episode of Star Trek in existence, asterisks, and we have distilled them to the Dabo Wheel of Honour and the Dabo Wheel of Shame. That's good episodes and very bad episodes. And because it's been a week, I have decreed that we shall review another fantastically good episode next week. We shall spin the wheel. Whatever it lands on, we must review it. And when the wheel does stop, you must yell at the top of your lungs, Promenade! No, sorry, I mean, Dabo!
I was so close to being like, can we just yell Promenade again? Because I love that so much.
Do you know what?
Promenade!
Promenade! Do you know what? Just for you, we're going to yell Promenade.
Are we doing it again?
We're going to do it again. But I
if
love
you haven't
the fact
seen last week's episode, this
Graham was. I love the fact that Synoiz was at a Pride event, and just right in the middle, all I got was a voice note. Just said Promenade, and I just wanted to imagine people around and going, "What the fucking hell is wrong with them?"
They actually did. They actually did. They were like, "Whoa!" Because I was just like, "Oh." I don't know why I did it so subtly, but I was literally just sitting with my friends and chatting to some women at the bar, and then basically just went, "Oh, excuse me, could you excuse me for a moment?" And then literally just walked outside of the bar and yelled that into my phone, looked at someone who was standing outside having a cigarette, and then just walked back inside. And they blatantly all heard it. And they were just like, and I was like, anyway, you know, it's just...
Chris has asked, does the Dabo Wheel include Section 31? No, for two reasons. Three reasons.
We're not watching it a third fucking time.
One, we've reviewed it. Two, it's a movie. And three, it's wank. So, without...
That is not the priority on them. You can guess what the priority on them is.
Promenade!
Promenade.
Without
hilariously, I didn't know that we were going to be doing the Dabo Wheel of Honour. I thought we were going to do the Dabo Wheel of Shame, so I haven't actually taken yesterday's Enterprise out of the Dabo Wheel of Honour, so we might hilariously get it again.
We might do a re-review.
Yeah.
What we might do is review. We might review our review of the review of yesterday's Enterprise. And we'll call
that's
it
what we should do. We
yesterday's Trekkin Up North. Yeah.
And then we're commenting about how shit we both are.
And we'll air it tomorrow and we'll call it yesterday's Trekkin Up North episode. But you'll notice a difference. You'll notice a difference because the lighting will change. My lighting will just be this. And it'll be all moody and dark. Right, anyway, I digress. In 3... I'm out of breath now. In 3, 2, 1. Oh. Promenade! Star Trek Enterprise.
This is
Similitude.
Yours. This is the one you wanted, wasn't it?
I'm going to have to get Duncan on.
Ooh.
We're going to have to get Duncan on.
Ooh,
should we Duncan? Should we have a dunk?
Ooh, Duncan.
Let's have a dunk. Oh, I tell you. Oh, similitude.
I love how Elf for Leather Beth has gone with Promenade in.
Promenade! Promenade! Right. Star Trek Enterprise Season 3, Episode 10, Similitude. During an engine performance test, Trip Tucker is critically injured and left comatose in sickbay. Phlox suggests that Tucker's only hope for survival is the creation of a mimetic symbiote. In other words, a clone. The crew and Trip's clone have to face the unforeseen emotional ramifications of his creation.
Now, this is a weird one. That is a weird synopsis because it's absolute spoilers for the episode.
Right?
Like, if you haven't seen it, because I'm pretty sure the episode is that you don't realize he's the clone, right? Or
No,
do you
he's a
know?
clone. Yeah, we know he's a clone.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Miles O'Brien episode.
Oh God, no! Miles has suffered
Yeah,
enough.
I was like, if you explained it, you'd be like, you've kind of given the whole fucking thing away, mate.
Also, what
Okay.
picture did you decide to use for this episode, by the way?
I literally, purely, grabbed these off the official Memory Alpha thing. That's the picture they use. But what they do is they basically get where the episode name shows up on the thing, and they just take a screenshot of it. So that must be what's happening when the title shows on there.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to
I'm
unpack.
not mad. I'm definitely not mad.
I'm not mad. Absolutely, I'm definitely not mad.
I would definitely trip into Tucker.
Third time. But yeah, I think we're gonna have to get Duncan for this one. I think we might have to send a subspace massage to Duncan to see if he can.
I'll give him a space massage. He can pick which space.
A subspace massage, and see if we can get Letterdex on this. This is right, guys. If you have not seen this episode, you don't have to know what's going on, but it will emotionally break you. This is a.
It's a tough wank.
It's awkward silence over for the Spotify listeners. Insert ad break here. I'm gonna cry at this episode. I am gonna cry at this episode. I always do when I watch this episode.
Can we put some sad music on? Can we put like on the episode? No, not now, but on next week's episode, we just have a big cry-a-thon.
I think we should.
Is Duncan capable of crying?
Are you saying, does Duncan have tear ducts?
I don't think he does.
I don't think he does. I think he's an augment.
We will find out next week on Trekking Up North. Does Duncan have tear ducts?
Don't make me do a poll. Right, but that is in the next.
We can do it when he's fucking here. When he's here. See, he's just sitting there being like, "What? Why are we doing a poll about?"
He's probably going to watch this back and go, "What?" Right, but that is the next episode of Trekking Up North. This has been our review of Star Trek The Next Generation, Yesterday's Enterprise. I would like to thank my gorgeous, delectable Geesian science officer Synoiz. Look at that delicious face.
I am an egg.
That is the face that only the US government could admit. Incidentally, I have a new passport.
Has it arrived?
It's arrived. Yes, I look incredible. I look incredibly dead.
Kawaii.
No, I look incredibly dead. Let me just see if I've still got my passport photo because you. Yes, here we go.
Are you blinking or something? They accepted it. Oh my word! That is. He has nothing left to live for. That I would not let that man in my country. That is, yeah.
I'm getting the word watch list.
He's on the edge.
I literally was.
He's just looking for people to take with him.
I was on the edge.
What that photo gives me.
I was on the edge of the step actually because it was the only part of the house that didn't have a shadow. I had to sell my soul so I didn't have a shadow, but. Next time on Trekking Up North, we will be reviewing Similitude. I will try and get the delectable Duncan from Letterdex on. We shall don the Enterprise uniforms and we will get the Kleenex. Not for a tough wank. We will get it because some of us will have tear ducts.
Speak for yourself.
Oh.
I love this episode.
Oh, I bet you do, you dirty bitch. Right. Anyway, we need to unpack it because we have got stuff to do. I have been Captain Goodwill of the USS Adequate. He has been the delectable Geesian from the planet Honk, Science Officer Synoiz. This has been Trekking Up North. I would like to thank each and every one of you in the live chat. If you are watching this back, please leave a comment on what you think of yesterday's Enterprise. We want to have a conversation with you. Go down below, click on all of our socials, like and subscribe, all the friends we've got there, including the Transporter Room, In the meantime, take care of each other, live long and prosper, and as ever, on Trekking Up North.
Miles?
Miles?
Your sorbet sucks! Now get out!
Promenade!